Hey, we're here and we're back on the podcast with Mr. James Hilovsky, who is a dedicated franchise broker. His website is the FranDream, and James is all about helping you identify what opportunities best suit your skills, expertise, and desired lifestyle. Now, James has a passion for empowering entrepreneurs and sports professionals into guiding them towards business ownership dreams. So we're going to find out from Mr. James all about all these amazing ideas like creating your franchise future, investing, franchising, decision-making, and everything that goes along with that. So James, glad to see you today.
So much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you too. And so what are you all about? What did I leave out of that bio? What just has you so energized, excited on a daily basis?
Well, it's all about helping people, helping people, whether it be an athlete or someone that's in business looking to get out of corporate America, transition and show them the options that are there for business ownership. And that's what's really exciting, to be able to take a person and show them the options and show them what might be some really good fits for them.
Well, wonderful. So it's all about helping people. And you think about that a lot, right? When you go to any kind of professional for any kind of service, right? You do your taxes. You're like, how are they so into like the numbered forms? You go to some attorney, like, how are they into like filing court papers? And you're like, you know what? Because they help people and they know that there's a certain amount of monotony, repetition, drudgery, grinding the gears. But you say, hey, without my help, someone wouldn't know if there's this athlete who says my window for making money is these few years and I can't still be playing football when I'm 70. So I've got like this money, but I have a limited amount of time to get it. And then once I get it, then I have to transition into this kind of next stage of my life. I need the help of Mr. James to figure it out. And James says, hey, without me, they might get eaten alive on taxes. They might blow it. They might gamble with it or put it into some business that doesn't make sense. And then there goes the rest of their life. Then they're like the rest of us. So James says, hey, there's a better way. I'm here to help people. And so when people come to you, Mr. James, and they say, hey, I'm a former sports professional or I'm an entrepreneur, what are you all about? What makes you unique? What makes you stand out?
Yeah, and the thing that what makes me unique and makes me stand out is I like to show franchises, business opportunities that I know have been vetted in the franchise world. There's over 7,000 franchises. I probably whittled that down to about 300 to 400 that I kind of show that I know has really good systems, really great support. Now it's just a matter as with the client and candidate, is that a fit? And it's interesting what you said about the athlete side of it. I'm working with an NFL football player right now who is very proactive because he's going, hey, he just signed a free agent deal. He switched teams right now, but he said, hey, I got 3 years left. And after these 3 years, when I'm done playing, I don't want to walk into $0. I want to walk into, I'd like to make $500,000, a year. And I want to start that now. And franchise, okay, that might be a multi-unit type deal. And we went out and searched for some different franchises, and he found this gym franchise. It's a great fit for him. They are a gym, but they also do a weight loss challenge. So it's transformation of the body. They sell supplements. So really was a great fit with them. He loved the the franchisor. They feel like they're going to give him great support while he's still playing. And he's going to sign a deal with 3 stores with them because he's like, that's what kind of goal he wants to hit. And hopefully all 3 of them will be done be built and up and going within the 3 years. So, the process is really, what industry is your interest? Are you going to be owner operator, passive model in that? So owner operator would be in the business 24/7. Passive would be 10 to 20 hours managing the manager. And then, what's the investment level that you're comfortable with? And, then we come up and see what we could come up with, maybe send you 5, 10 different options to present to you. And then we go from there and take a deeper dive into it.
Very cool. So it's narrowing down the decision making, and I like just thinking that through because it's kind of like when, say, I don't know if you've ever done like a search on LinkedIn here, James, but like you go on LinkedIn, you go to the search box and you say, hey, here's my keyword, right? Looking for this kind of person, you get like thousands, and you say, well, I just want someone in North America, and it's like 1,000, and you're like, hey, I just want someone that's like I'm already a friend with them, and it's like 200, and it's like, yeah, narrow down, narrow down. So that's great. You're saying, well, first, what industry do you want to be in? And then what will your role be in that? Will you be passive? Will you be owner operator? And then what will your investment be? And that like really gets it narrowed down into just a handful of choices, into being completely overwhelming. And there was also an interesting insight you mentioned there about getting to it early and having somewhat of an overlap, right? This athlete isn't saying, okay, I'll just can finish my career, and then afterwards, then I'll go and I'll take a nap and I'll wake up and I'll go talk to James. It's like, no, 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 I'm doing this years before. That way I can get this up and running now, and I won't have to burn through money, waiting for things to pick up speed. And so, what sort of there's this gentleman who has the gym, but like, what sorts of categories do your people usually land on? Is it all over the map, or do you see some recurring trends?
It really typically is all over the map. It varies to what's out there that they kind of like in the industry. I'll give you an example. One of the last year, one of the top franchises that I put a lot of my clients into was dog grooming. So I mean, and it's a great franchise, very high profit margins. So there's that. This year, it's been indoor golf studio, so indoor golf franchise, and a franchise that manufactures hydraulic hoses. So
Huh.
that's a big difference there, but that's kind of where the journeys have taken for each individual person has their own story and will have their own different type of franchise match.
And so when you get this narrowed down, you say, hey, what, based on everything we've done and based on what you like, we land on dog grooming, we land on industrial hoses. Like, what sorts of habits do you recommend someone picks up? Because I imagine that if someone were to get into dog grooming, they should probably be obsessed with it, right? They should know, like, well, who in my area is doing it? What mistakes do the others sort of establishments make? What do the customers love about it? That way I can really like lean into those strengths. Like, so like when you say, okay, here's the franchise that we've landed on, like, what do you think your people should be doing as far as like the time commitment and the activities early on?
And that's the thing. Really, it's kind of having a plan before before you even start. So if you're in the corporate world, are you thinking you're going to go right into that? You're going to quit your job and immediately go into the franchise, or maybe you're going to have your wife and kids run the business, and then you're going to transition maybe after unit 2 and 3 are up. So there's different strategies for everybody. But what I would say, why you get into a franchise is because you don't really need to know deeply about the industry, because they've already done that. They know about it. They've had the hiccups that where they've made the mistakes. Really, it's because they're going to help identify the person that you need to hire, and they're going to give you that help. They're going to give you that ongoing support. Really, after we've identified that, the whole thing is now let's explore the franchisor. Do you like the person you're talking with? That's going to be your business partner. But also, what kind of support are they going to give you? And what kind of support? Not only opening support, what's the ongoing support look like? What's the marketing support go by? And then the biggest thing that I think that if I talk to people who did not use a franchise broker or don't use us, is if they're doing it on their own, is not you have to verify the franchise with existing franchisees. You have to make those calls and go and, hey, what kind of support did you get? Would you do this again? How quick did you break even? And that's where you're going to get a deep dive and find out all about the franchise. And so that it's all still a matter of doing homework after identify it. Of do we like the people in charge, the franchisor in charge? Am I going to get great support? Did it check out with the franchisees? Then okay, then maybe it's a go. And oftentimes you'll talk to maybe 3 or 4 franchises, and during that process you will whittle it down to one.
Ooh, okay. So you don't necessarily have to wait until you're already committed. You can kind of you can use your people skills and do this research, do this due diligence, and it seems like this idea of jumping in with a franchise. It's like getting it right this time, right? Because you think about how sometimes you fall into a job, you fall into a career, and you hate it, and you kind of suffer through it, and you say, well, hey, now that I will be a business owner, I'll be a franchise owner. Now I can make these decisions. I can set up the life that I want. And so you mentioned this keyword here, homework, right? And I don't know about you, James, but when I was a kid, I hated homework. And I think now, like, if I'd found a way to love homework, it would have made life easier. I would have been a better student. And so you think there's all these skills that maybe we hated when we were younger. We hated talking to people on the phone, right? We hated looking into the numbers and the figures. But it seems like if and we hated, like, paying bills, we hated problems, but it seems like if we lean into these things, we'll be better business owners, we'll be better people. And so have you gone through any of that? Like when you mentioned about, like, making all these phone calls, I'm sure people like dread that. So how can we embrace the excitement that is making these phone calls awkwardly to these people we've never met? How can we get excited about that?
Well, and it's interesting you say that because the worst thing is picking up the phone and just calling out of the blue. So I always like to say, hey, send an email. They're very busy. They're business owners. So at least you have that email introduction. So it's not like a cold call. Hey, you have scheduled time. You're not taking out of the day. And then really what happens is still that excitement of finding out the business and finding, hey, is this a right fit? That kind of takes over and it really just becomes a natural conversation. And it really is important too when you're making these calls to actually make a connection with that franchisee, because in the franchise world, the existing franchisees are going to be your teammates now. You may go to that person when you have a problem before you go to the franchisor, because they're there to help you as well, because everyone wants the system to succeed. So it makes it a really great introduction to having a potential partnership, even with that franchisee.
Wonderful. So you're looking for that right fit, and you're socializing because they're helping you, and you might help someone else at a later date, and you're all teammates and you're all in this together. And you and I both know, James, that business ownership of any kind is really hard. And ideally, hopefully, getting a franchise reduces that somewhat, but there's still a lot to go through, right? There's still a lot of struggles and uncertainty. So what do you have to share with us about maybe when things go wrong either with your own evolution or people you've helped? What sort of struggle story do you have for us?
When things go wrong, really, it's the easiest thing is to complain, point fingers at why things are not going right. Really, I think that when things are going wrong, it's just taking a step back and going, what can I do different, and to keep going, and to keep, try something different. Is this going to work in the business? Maybe pivot here, but it's always to strive and keep going. So that's really the main thing is, no, there's going to be highs and lows in business, but the lows is just keep grinding, keep working, and it'll come back up. And once you're back up, know that just try to keep striving to keep climbing, because then there's going to probably go back down. So it is kind of sometimes a roller coaster, but it's always keep grinding, keep a great attitude about your business, and treat, if you have employees, treat your employees well, like you're a Class A organization.
I like it. So, what can I do different? And then there's also seems to be your kind of like immovable pillars, right? Like the things that should never change is your enthusiasm, your excitement, your optimism, the way you treat people. It's like, don't change that. But what might need to change is something about your approach. And is there anything of note here, James, about what you've changed over time? Like, have you improved your time management, your delegating? Like, what kind of change did you perhaps not, or what did you perhaps not do 10 years ago that you changed and now you do all the time?
Really, to be honest with you, and it's just been evolving, is that attitude of woe is me. tend to be when I would get down in businesses like, man, if I just had the luck that that guy had, I'd be okay. And it's you got to make your own luck, and you got to run hard. And then another thing too is when typically in my younger career, I really didn't seek advice from people like either fellow business owners or even fellow franchisees, or just even just fellow business owners that aren't even in my industry, of just going, man, I'm kind of struggling with this. Have you ever had that happen? What would you do? Because much like getting into a franchise system, talking with people, they will help you because they've probably been through something like this before. So it's always good to know, like, oh, they did this and they worked their way out of it. So it's really, don't get too down, but always seek the advice of other professionals.
I love it. They call it continuous learning. So seek the advice of other professionals who have been where you want to be. And obviously, everyone's path's different, but it's good to have that positive flow of information and get new ideas and new perspectives. What question am I not asking you that I should be asking?
Well, what question? That's a great question, because one of the things that out there is, what a lot of people think of just a franchise is a food business. When you walk out in the world, and you're driving along and you see a van, a plumbing van, an electrical van. Then you look over to the side, you see a flooring company. Those are all franchises. So the franchises is, again, many different industries out there. And then another misconception is, well, I'm just going to invest in the franchise, and the franchise is going to do all the work. That's what I pay the royalties for. No, you're still the driving force of the business. You have to make the business go. The franchisor is just there to give you support. They give you the playbook. It's your responsibility to follow it and grow the business. So that's why when we were talking about, it's very important what kind of support the franchisor is going to give you. I didn't say it was very important that how they're going to run your business. You're up to running your business. You still have to hire the right people. They're going to be there for that playbook and that ongoing support, but you still have to make your business run. You own every aspect of your business, and you really have to make it go.
Fair enough. So it's still up to you. You still have that responsibility. You have that ownership, but you just have this extra amount of help. And when you think about when you open your refrigerator, you turn on the faucet, you get food out of the fridge, like all that came about from other people. So it's ridiculous to think that if you were to start a business, that it's all you. You need employees, you need teammates, but you also, if it makes sense for you, need a franchise and a proven system and a support system. And so that's wonderful to think about, James. Like there's that thing called the red car syndrome, right? The reticular activation part of your brain, where when you think that you're so unique and you get a red car, and next thing you know, you see that exact same red car driving around. Well, in the same idea, you see all these, say, plumber vans, or work trucks of all kinds with a logo on the side. That's someone who most likely has a franchise, and they're not just starting from scratch. They're doing it right, hitting the ground running, and having help from the right people. And so as far as some next steps here, you have thefrandream.com, where you offer this business assessment, you offer this 15 to 30-minute intro call. And so if someone says, all right, a lot of this makes sense, I want to look into this franchise thing and get the help from franchise broker Mr. James Hilovsky to get the decisions narrowed down and tell me what I don't know that I don't know. So what should someone do after watching our podcast today? Where should they go?
Yes, go to thefrandream.com. What you'll find there's a business assessment that you can take, that kind of fun little the thing that you kind of tells you about kind of your skills and everything. Also on the website, you can search for different franchises, and then there's a whole bunch of different franchise tutorials and whatnot. So you could make a nice little 20-minute stop there. There's lots to do on the website.
Very nice. So make that 20-minute stop. That's thefrandream.com, thefrandream.com, because they're there to help, and finding the right franchise can change your life. Franchises can help you achieve profitability in your business sooner. They have industry information. They cut down on the research time. They provide franchise comparisons and reports, and working with them is free to you. They're just a franchise broker. They provide consulting. They tell you about financing options. It's a great approach and a great way to figure this out. So we have James at thefrandream.com. His phone number is 951-491-5983. And you can find out all about this by going to thefrandream.com. Before I let you go, Mr. James here, it's time for the scary part of the show where I try to stump you. I try to put you on the spot. I ask for a fun or helpful quote or lesson that has served you in life or in business. So what comes to mind for a quote or lesson?
Yeah, it's a quote that I've kind of carried with me, and I always will go back to it. But it's actually from Wayne Gretzky. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So that can involve in sports, that can be involved in business, that really could just be involved in life. You got to take that chance to bet on yourself and take the shot. Take the shot.
That's beautiful. I love it. Bet on yourself, take the chance, take the risk, take action. Life is short. And the first step to that is by going to thefrandream.com. Go ahead, do it right now. We've been chatting with Mr. James Hilovsky, franchise broker, about the amazing life that could be in store for you if you change your actions, change your beliefs, change your mindset, look into this franchise idea. You'll be glad you did. And thanks, Mr. James, for showing up, stopping by, educating us, entertaining us with some stories. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me.